Okay, this is the I lost my train of thought. This is the last lesson for chapter 6, and it's a fun one. It's polynomial long division. So if you don't remember how to do regular long division, you might be in a little bit of trouble here. Okay, so we're going to learn to divide polynomials, and this is when we have a polynomial that's not divisible um, by the other polynomial. Okay, so here's some things to remember. The dividend goes over the divisor. Okay, so the number in the top is your dividend. It's what's being divided. The number in the denominator is divisor. It's what you're dividing by. That's equal to the quotient and whatever remainder you get over the divisor. Okay, so the way you would check it is you would take the quotient times the divisor plus the remainder. And this, we'll get to it. Okay. So let's start with some regular numbers. All right, so I want to divide 23 into 949. So I would look at it and it would say that will go in, I don't know, 4 times. So that would be 4 times 3 is 12, 8, 92. So I have 29. 23 will go in 1 time. Okay, and I'm left over with 6. Now, if this were a decimal, we would just keep going. If we were little kids, we would put our big R and we would write 6. But really what this is it's 41 and 6/23. Okay, think of it as 949 over 23, and all we've done is change it to a mixed number. Okay, well, that's the same thing we're doing with our polynomials. We're dividing, and then anything we get as a remainder, just write it as a fraction. Okay, and this is the same as 41 plus 6 over 23. We just don't put the plus sign. For the polynomial division, we will. All right, so here's how this works. You take your first term. First of all, make sure everything is in descending order. Your divisors in descending order, your dividends in descending order. So you take your first term and you look at your first term in your polynomial and you say, what would I have to multiply by 4x to get 8x squared? Well, I would have to multiply 2x. Okay, 4x times 2x is going to give me 8x squared because we want to get rid of this first term. So here's what we do. We say, okay, so 2x times 4x plus 1, and that's going to give me 8x squared plus 2x. Okay, and see how I've got them lined up? But I'm subtracting because remember we subtracted. Okay, so I change these signs. Put that negative, I'm just going to change that sign. And these cancel out, and here I have 6x minus 2x is 4x, and I bring down this one plus 3. So what would I multiply by 4x to get 4x? Well, I would multiply 1, and it would be a positive 1, so it's plus 1. So then I have 1 times 4x plus 1 is going to give me 4x, and a 1 here. And because I'm subtracting, I change the signs, those cancel, and I'm left with 2. So my remainder is 2. So I would put plus 2 over 4x plus 1. So let me write this out again. 2x plus 1 plus 2 over 4x plus 1. Okay, so this is my whole number in essence. This is my fractional part, my remainder. Okay, let's look at another one. So here we have this written as a fraction, okay, and I need to divide it. And because this is a binomial, I can't just do regular division like we did before, where I say, let me divide each one of these by that. So what we're going to do is first I'm going to make sure everything is in descending order. So I'm going to have 15x squared plus 34x minus 16. That's the first thing. And then I'm going to have 5x minus 1, okay? I could try factoring this and then see if I can cancel out a factor, but that's going to be pretty big. 15 times 16 because I'm going to have to use slide divide bottoms up. So I'm just going to do polynomial division. So we put 5x minus 2, that's my divisor. And I have 15x squared. And you're going to want to make sure you have plenty of room for this, minus 16. Okay, so I start with the 5x and the 15x. And I say, what would I have to multiply by 5x to get 15x squared? Well, I'd have to multiply a 3 and an x. So I write 3x times, I have to multiply it by the whole thing. That's going to give me 15x squared. 3x times negative 2 is going to give me negative 6x. Now I'm subtracting, so what I do is I go back and I change those signs. This cancels. If it doesn't cancel, I've done something wrong. 34 plus 6 is 40. So I have 40x minus 16. Okay, then I say, well, what would I multiply 5x? And again, I'm just looking at the 5x to get 40x. Well, I would multiply by 8. So I'm going to put a plus 8 up here. Don't forget to put those there. So then I would have 8 times 5x minus 2, and that's going to give me 40x. And this will give me minus 16. 8 times 2, and then I change my signs. Oops, changed it to the wrong thing. And here I got a remainder of 0. So that tells me that I would have had, if I had factored this, I would have had, my two factors would have been 5x minus 2 and 3x plus 8. Okay, because 5x minus 2 went in evenly. But to go through all that slide, divide, bottoms up and all that, this was just a little bit quicker. Okay, so this is an example of when the polynomial is divisible by the divisor. Here's an example of when it's not divisible. That's why we had the remainder. Okay, let's look at example 4. Write the answer as a mixed expression. All right, so here's where you need to be careful. Notice that I have 2a cubed plus 5. I don't have a quadratic term. I don't have an a squared, and I don't have a linear term, which is an a. But in order to do polynomial long division, I need them. So I'm going to write this like this. I'm going to do my a minus 3, and then I'm going to have 2a cubed plus 0a squared plus 0a plus 5. And basically, these are like placeholders. Okay, it's kind of like annexing a 0, but it's like in the middle. But it's just acting as a placeholder. So I start with my a, and I say, what would I multiply by a to get 2a cubed? Well, I would multiply 2a squared. So I have 2a squared times a minus 3. 2a squared times a is 2a cubed. 2a squared minus times negative 3 is negative 6a squared. Change my signs. Now notice how I have these lined up. If I didn't have this a squared here, I'd have it lined up with a 5, and that wouldn't make sense. So this is really just acting as a placeholder. I add these two together, and of course 0. You add it, and I just get 6a squared. And I bring down my 0a. And then I say, what would I multiply by a to get 6a squared? I would multiply positive 6a. Okay, and make sure you put your signs in there, and the plus. So I have 6a times a minus 3. That's going to give me 6a squared minus 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. Change your signs because you're subtracting. Those cancel. This should be an a here. 18a and 0a is just 18a. I bring down my 5. And I say, what would I multiply by a to get 18a? Well, I would just multiply 18. Notice that my answer is in descending order. So I would have 18 times a minus 3. So I would 18a minus 18 times 3, I believe, is 54. And then I'm subtracting, so I change my signs, and I end up with 59 as my remainder. So I write my remainder as plus 59 over a minus 3. Okay, and whatever the sign of this is positive. If this was negative, this would be a subtraction. Okay, so the sign of this does not go with the fraction. It tells me the operation in front of the fraction. Okay, so that would be my answer there. All right, so let's look at our try this. Here we have a division. And first thing I do is make sure it's in descending order. So I have to rearrange it. So I have 3x cubed plus x squared plus 5x minus 2, all divided by x plus 1. Now to factor that and try to see if you can cancel out that x plus 1, it would just be a big mess. So we're going to do long division. So my divisor is x plus 1. My dividend is 3x cubed plus x squared plus 5x minus 2. Everything's there. My cubic, my quadratic, my linear, so I don't have to do any placeholders. I'm looking with the x. What would I multiply x by to get 3x cubed? It would be 3x squared. So 3x squared times x plus 1 gives me 3x cubed plus 3x squared. I'm subtracting, so I change the sign to remind me that I'm subtracting. Those cancel. This is negative 2x squared plus 5x. And then I say, what would I multiply by x to get negative 2x squared? Well, I'd multiply by negative 2x, so make sure it's minus 2x. So I have minus 2x times x plus 1, and that's going to give me negative 2x squared minus 2x. And because I'm subtracting, I change my signs, so those will cancel out. And I'm left with 7x minus 2. And then I say, well, I would have to multiply x times 7. So 7 times x plus 1 gives me 7x plus 7. I change my signs because I'm subtracting. And it gives me negative 9. So this would be minus. The minus goes out front, 9 over x plus 1.